Hello and welcome to Super OK, where we try to do a decent enough job to entertain people with our opinions on video games. My name is Dale, and I'm joined here by our seemingly ever-present guest, Kevin. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I suppose that I need to do more things outside of my house and or podcasting.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Many of the Super OK crew are falling apart, be that physically or health concerns or what have you. And so we are incredibly grateful that you are willing to join us, even if it is on short notice. So thanks so much. Um, yeah, yeah.
How are you?
I'm still ill. I'm on antibiotics, and they are messing with my tumbly. So, I got that going for me. But I'd say I'm at like 69% health.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
it's funny because sex number. Hey,
yeah, it's pretty good. No,
real
actually,
quick
probably
question.
85.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
When you say that the antibiotics are messing with your tumbly, about
yeah.
what percentage of the day does your stomach sound like boots in a dryer?
It's not like often, but it is
Oh,
some percentage. It's higher than the zero, which is what it normally is. And that is cause for concern for both me and my local medical facility. So, good question. Boots in a dryer is pretty fucked up.
it's maybe my favorite phrase about when your stomach hurts because
Yeah,
everyone understands it. As soon as you think about it, you're like, oh, I got it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's bad times. This is a video game podcast. You might not believe me, but I promise it is. And we're gonna prove that by not talking about video games for the next couple minutes, because instead we start every episode with our highlight of the week, which is a thing that made our life a little bit better, a little bit nicer, a little bit brighter to live in. And we always let our guests go first. So Kevin, why don't you share with me what is your highlight of the week?
For sure. My highlight of the week is a little bit prospective. At the end of this week, I'm going to see Alkaline Trio in concert. It's been a couple of years since I last saw them in concert, and it's been a good few months since I've been to a concert in general. So I'm just really excited to get out there, enjoy some live music, have some fun watching a band that I enjoy. Uh, and really, the only like everything's all set. Got like tickets on my phone and everything. The only thing that I really need to remember earplugs. That's the one thing I always forget, and I just need to make sure I remember them.
Yeah, that checks out. Dude, I went to see Always at an art museum in Massachusetts last year. And when we walked in, they handed everybody earplugs, which was awesome. But what was
That's really cool.
more awesome is the music was mixed so that it sounded perfect if you were wearing earplugs.
That's really cool. I find that in general, the music is easier, like, well, not easier to listen to with earplugs because obviously, but that it like genuinely sounds better with earplugs. There's less like kind of natural distortion that my ear is doing to protect itself.
Yeah, but like to be in a venue where they actually specifically mixed the music to sound good through earplugs, that's like next level shit. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have never seen Alkaline Trio live, but my understanding is that it's sad boy music. Is it like does the crowd get hyped, or is it just like a lot of like hugging?
Oh, I mean, it's sad boy music, but it's like raucous sad boy music.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
So there's plenty of opportunity to get hype and like push toward the stage, and you don't really get too much of like a pit, but you do get a lot of just like forward pushing.
Okay. Yeah. The worst kind, which is the
Yes.
like fuck small people and women. All right, yeah,
Yes.
that sucks. Um, but hey, who knows? Maybe this time they'll figure it out and it'll be good. Um, but I'm glad that you were excited about it. Um, I've got a number of concerts coming up that I am super stoked about as well. So I am glad to hear when is this live music festival that you are headed to?
This one is Friday.
Oh shit, it's coming up real fast.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. My highlight of the week is that I had a pair of Vans Slides house shoes that I've been rocking for like 2 years, 2.5 years, that have been, as all things, been slowly succumbing to the grip of entropy. And Ange and I had to move this last weekend because we are still not back in our goddamn house. And so we moved from her brother-in-law. Thanks so much for having us. To her parents' place, or to from her brother, my brother-in-law, to her parents' place. And in the process of going up and down the stairs, they finally just gave up the ghost, and it was time for me to get new house shoes. And so yesterday we went to our local shoe merchant, and I headed directly to their clearance section because I don't need like a fancy house shoe or whatever. And there were a number of different like slides that I tried on, and they all kind of sucked. And then I tried on, for the first time ever, a pair of shoes that came in a green box, like a neon green box.
Did they light up?
They don't light up,
Okay.
but they are Crocs.
Oh,
And putting my foot into one, I've never done before yesterday, 2 days ago, was like wearing a cloud, and it's real good. And so I'm very excited about my Crocs. I am super stoked about them. They have been very nice for the past couple days here. Um, they're a little warm because they're made out of foam rubber. I think I need to do some Croc mods. Um,
cut
but
some speed holes in them.
yeah, exactly. Get some ventilation going in them. But they're really nice. But I do think I might have fucked up because while I was there were other shoes in the clearance section that I also have never tried on. But that's because I've never seen them in my size. And now anybody who knows me knows that I've got a list of things that I hate. One of those things that I hate is gliding children with Heelys on, because they're often unaware of their surroundings. They run into shit. Back when I used to work at a toy store, they would knock shit over all the time. But this store had a pair of Heelys in my size, and I very briefly considered getting them. And Ange said that I would be the biggest hypocrite in the world if I did that, when I hate gliding children as much as I do. But I contest that I would be aware of my surroundings if I were wearing them. But I also contest that as a 41-year-old man, I probably shouldn't be wearing Heelys. So I want to know what your opinion is. Did I mess up by not buying these shoes?
Listen, I think that you would be fully aware of your surroundings while you ran into shit and knocked it over.
Fair point.
That's and so I don't think there's any hypocrisy there. I think if anything, it shows an amazing self-awareness and absolute disregard for the well-being of others and
Fair point.
yourself.
Yeah. Yep. True. True. Which are generally like several of the values that I hold most important. So I maybe I need to go back.
I
DSW, I'm coming for you.
I think you do need to go back, and I really appreciate that you said shoe merchant because the only way you could have made that weirder was by saying like your local cobbler.
No, I don't have a cobbler anymore. It's a long past profession. Don't got them no more. All right, yeah. So that was my highlight of the week. It's new shoes. It's been a rough week. All right. So speaking of it being a rough week, and we may have alluded to this in the intro, but I've got a lot of ideas for a lot of good episodes. But all of those require things like research and writing a solid outline and that sort of shit. And I just ain't got it in me. I've been sick. So instead, what we're doing is another nice little quick bites casual episode with Kevin and myself here. We're just gonna bring up a topic and we're gonna talk about it. They're all gonna be new, but some of them might not be as evergreen as you're used to from the Super OK crew, and that's okay. Sometimes you just got to do things a little bit differently, especially if you're all hopped up on flu antibiotics. So that's what we're gonna do. And the first one is actually something that apparently has been going on for several months now. but because of the bubbles that I travel in on the internet, I was unaware of them. And so, Kevin, why don't you just really quickly introduce me and our listeners to what the hell is going on with Sweet Baby Inc?
Yeah, so this is a thing that I learned today has been going on for a few months. I heard about it more kind of in the last few weeks because of the circles that I travel in on the internet. And Sweet Baby Inc. is a company that uh, does a number of different like roles with it with game developers and publishers, some of which would include consultation as it relates to developing, marketing, script writing, presentation, things of that nature. So they can get involved in a number of different areas throughout the generation of a game, and th- they have a pretty transparent goal in representation for generally marginalized groups, and they kind of broadcast themselves and advertise themselves as doing that. And part of the internet has gotten pretty upset about that, and I think
Before
they've gotten
before you go into why they're upset, I just want to
sure,
share what Sweet Baby Inc. says on their website.
yeah,
So they specifically say, founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. What a good name. I initially heard it as Sweet Baby Hank. It's not Sweet Baby Hank, although that is also a great name. If you
Sweet
have a
Baby Hank is
child,
probably a better name.
if you have a child and you are looking for a name and Thor for some reason is off the table, might I recommend Sweet Baby Hank? Anyway, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Now, that to me sounds like not only a pretty innocuous, but honestly, like something to strive for in video games. So please, Kevin, enlighten me as to what sort of troglodytes are getting upset about this.
Well, to try to put it kindly, um, Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in the development of and in consultation in the development of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That's the reason that I learned about them, and uh, th- I think that people just wanted a reason to get mad at somebody, to blame some particular entity for how bad that game was, because I think a lot of people hoped it had more to deliver and it doesn't. And some subsection of just the smoothest brain folks on the internet decided that they had to blame a company focused on inclusion and representation. And so that is that's the long and short of it from what I understood. I did get a chance to read an interview with with kind of the guy who started leading the charge against Sweet Baby Inc.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a guy who made a curator page on Steam called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, um, which I think we're probably going to talk about in a little bit. But
Probably.
his he was interviewed by a site called Geeks and Gamers, and they asked, "What made you take notice of Sweet Baby Inc.? Did it
Mhm.
start with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?" And the response was, "Quote, actually, it was a few months before the release of Suicide Squad. I started noticing patterns in some games, like ugly women and male characters being weakened to make female ones look stronger. The first game that SBI, Sweet Baby Inc., worked on where I noticed this kind of stuff was God of War Ragnarok. I think anyone who played God of War 3 would find it really weird when Kratos decides to spare Thor and says, we must be better. That simply didn't fit the character. End quote. Now, Dale, I have a quick question for you. Are you are you aware of any games that maybe featured Kratos in some respect that took place between God of War 3 and God of War Ragnarok?
I've heard of oh man, there was a game, God of War 2018, like the game of the year? Like that one?
Yeah, yeah, that, I think that came out between those two titles.
It did, yes, yeah.
And, now it's been like a year and a half since I played that on stream, but
Mhm.
my recollection is that there seemed to be some character development of Kratos in that game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
so the ability of someone to completely elide over the existence of an entire title that goes through a significant character development arc just to be able to connect lines that they really wanted to connect is outstanding to me. And I think that that general lapse in judgment and ability to logically approach a scenario really speaks to what all of this hullabaloo is about.
I think first off, I just want to talk about some of the games that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on that aren't, like absolute pieces of garbage. Because here's the thing, like any developer, anyone who does consultation, you're going to have some good games and you're going to have some bad games, right? And if you take a look at like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, obviously not great, right? Reviews are terrible. I haven't taken the time to play it, but I'm going to believe that for the most part that game is pretty bad. Also, like Gotham Knights, not a great game, right?
Right.
Like some people enjoyed it, some people didn't. Overall reviews pretty bad.
Yeah. I liked it, but I know that I am the exception. I
Yep,
know that I am the exception.
yep. Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. One of the worst reviewed games I think I've ever seen. Absolute trash, but wasn't maligned because of the writing. It was maligned because it was a broken game. And nowhere on their page does Sweet Baby Inc. say, like, we come in and crush fucking bugs, bro. Like, so the problems in that game, probably not Sweet Baby Inc.'s fault. Other games that they have worked on outside of the absolutely amazing God of War Ragnarok include Sable, which is a beautiful, amazing game. Alan Wake 2, which I have not yet had a chance to play, but by all accounts is absolutely amazing. Goodbye Volcano High, which is like a critical darling, absolutely awesome. Spider-Man 2 getting rave reviews literally everywhere. They worked on the Crew Motorfest, and I'm not sure how you can wokeify a car game, but I hope that they did. Like, I hope they did. But here's the thing. Here's my problem with all of this bullshit. These are people, the people who are shitting on Sweet Baby Inc. for going out and like working on games and helping to write games and helping to make games more inclusive and have better representation and all of that are the exact sort of people who are going to scapegoat any possible thing that is moving things forward, that is making progress in the world, if it doesn't fit to their exact uh, specifications as to what the world should be moving towards, right? Like, I don't like a bunch of different stuff that's out there. There's a bunch of different, like, companies that make, like, garbage stuff, bad media, bad news, all of that stuff. And I'm going to criticize those things. But also, when or if those companies make a good thing, I can also recognize that. I can point out like, "Hey, you did a good thing here." Like I hate fucking Kevin Sorbo. Kevin Sorbo sucks, right? He's in all of these like God's Not Dead movies and all that sort of bullshit now. But I can also recognize that Hercules was kind of like a fun show. It was like a fun, campy television show, right? Like
No,
I can
Hercules was real good.
right, exactly. It was a good show, right? It was fun. I can recognize that. These are the sorts of people who are just going to go scorched earth on anything that someone that they disagree with makes. And that is not only bad for like whatever medium they're reviewing, whatever medium they're like getting their tendrils in, they're pushing people away from good art that has been created. It is bad for society as a whole for us to discount something completely simply because they disagree with some of the viewpoints. I want to make it abundantly clear that this opinion of mine is different from when someone has done something reprehensible, right? I was a big fan of Bill Cosby before all the bullshit. I now cannot consume Bill Cosby media because it makes me feel gross. I loved Louis C.K. I cannot consume Louis C.K. media because it makes me feel gross. Should he still have the ability to create media? I don't know, probably not. He should probably be behind bars, right? But that's not for me to decide. But what I'm saying here is I'm not going out and saying, hey, he made this new comedy special and it's terrible because I haven't seen it and I can't comment on it. But what I can say is I'm not going to watch it. And I
Yeah.
think that there's an important delineation there when you look at somebody who's set themselves up as a Steam curator who is saying, hey, these are all games we don't recommend, versus, hey, this is an informational review to let you know that Sweet Baby Inc. worked on these. And I think that that's an important delineation to make, both as like a curator, but also as just a responsible member of society.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you are going to involve yourself that deeply to curate a page and say like, "Hey, these are the games." It is one thing entirely to like it is one thing to just provide the information. It is another thing to without any sort of base other than the existence of one credited company to say this is why it should not you should not play it. I think that that's like far afield from something that anyone curating making a curator page, someone curating games on Steam should be doing.
Right. And here's the thing, if you're like a game reviewer, if you've gone through and you've played those games, that's a completely different story. You know, if you have gone through and legitimately played all of these games and you've decided like, no, I don't like this one, I also don't like this one, that's a completely different story. But there's none of that in here. There's no like games journalism involved, there's no game critique involved. It's literally just Sweet Baby Inc. worked on this, you shouldn't check it out. And that's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. It was I don't recommend this. Sweet Baby Inc. involved proof on closing credits. Like that is those are the quotes that we are getting
Yep.
for why a game is not recommended.
Yes. Yeah. So pretty big bummer. The other part of this is like, this is causing absolute gargoyles to come out of the woodwork when talking about what's going on with Sweet Baby Inc. Because if you go on like Reddit or any of this, there's shit as far back as November where people are talking about like, hey, there's a thread here about on 4chan about Sweet Baby Inc. and they're trying to fix other studios' work. And then people are talking about how like, this is why Joel had to die in Last of Us, because he was a white cis male, not because like it had spoilers for Last of Us 2. Sorry, it's been out for a while. Because they had to kill him because he's a white cis male, and that's why they made Ellie gay so that there'd be some representation. And that's garbage. They could have spent that money on making the game better instead of. And it's just like, what are you fucking like? Why are you scapegoating this and saying that this is the reason the game wasn't great? Also, Last of Us 2 got like pretty good reviews, guys. So like, I don't know. Maybe the problem's you. Maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think a little bit of introspection from anybody who has decided that they are not going to play a game because a company is in the credits, knowing absolutely nothing else. I think a little bit of introspection could probably go a long way. I doubt that it will. I doubt that any introspection will be had, but you know, I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah. Also, man, I just looked up the reviews for Last of Us Part 2. It has a 93% rating from critics and a 3-star rating from audience, with like half of the reviews being 5 stars and half of the reviews being 1 star. And if you look at the 1 star reviews, it's all just like copied from another review because it's 100% accurate. This game is pushing a political agenda. I only played the first 25 minutes and it was all cutscenes and I was so disappointed. I went online to check reviews, see if it was just me, but no, everyone else agrees with me. It's just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, why? Why?
I
Why?
just uh, I just pulled up the Metacritic for Last of Us Part Two, and
Yeah.
the most recent review from yesterday reads, "Quote: Horrible sweet baby ink game. What do you want me to say? Go put your disgusting agenda in somewhere else. So happy I just borrowed the game and I did not pay for this piece of garbage." End quote. But they're happy that they borrowed the game, which means they're all in all happy they played it, is the way that I would read that. That's how I'm choosing to take this person. I don't even know where to find. I am never on Metacritic. I don't know where to find this person's name. I'm not going to throw them on blast anyway. But they're happy they borrowed it. Look at that. Happy they played it. That's the way I'm reading it.
Yeah. There's so many 0 point reviews where it's like just talking about like social justice warrior shit. And it's like people are using like other languages. Like somebody posted some shit in here that's in hexadecimal. I am not decoding this. I'm willing to bet it's just like hate speech. Like like it's absolute insanity what is happening here. So yeah, long story short on Sweet Baby Inc. Great name, great mission. Um if you ain't got haters, then you ain't doing it right. And if you don't like representation in your video games, you can fuck right off. That's how I'm going to summarize the Sweet Baby Inc. section. Do you have anything else you want to say about Sweet Baby Inc.?
Yeah, I mean, like don't don't submit a review for a game if you haven't bothered to play it, or if the only reason is for some political bullshit where you want to like score points with your internet friends.
Yeah, good call. Good call. All right, now I want to talk about where we're going. We need 4 lanes because little game came out a little while ago. We didn't talk about it at all. It's called Skull and Bones. And the reason we didn't talk about Skull and Bones is for the most part, unimpressive game. I didn't play it. You played it, right?
I did. I played through the free weekend.
What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed playing the free weekend. Um, it it offered a pretty cool gameplay loop, but knowing who made it and knowing who being Ubisoft, and knowing what they were capable of doing about a decade ago as it relates to ship combat in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I was expecting something more that
Okay.
I don't feel like they quite delivered on. And part of that is, I think, because they wanted to keep it, like they wanted to fully pull away from the Assassin's Creed style gameplay. So you really don't do much on land, other than just kind of walk around, and you'll do a little exploration, but there's no sort of parkour, there's no hand to hand combat. It is all ship based.
Okay.
Uh, and so I think that that was just me not having the right expectation set. So I'm willing to give them a little bit of credit there. But I still feel like they did so much more with Assassin's Creed 4 in terms of the ship combat, that the steps that they made forward in Skull and Bones really, it was too incremental for the time that they had for this game being in development.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, before I go any further, I want you to keep that review in mind, listeners. Uh, when you hear that Ubisoft has decided to, they, we're familiar with AAA games, um, and so like, hey, it's a big game, it's a AAA game. Here is a quote from the CEO of Ubisoft, which is, "You will see that Skull and Bones is a fully fledged game. It's a very big game. and we feel that people will really see how vast and complete that game is. It's a really full AAA, quadruple A game that will deliver in the long run. That is a direct quote by I'm not sure how to say his first name. It's spelled Yves, so I'm guessing it's Yves
Yeah.
Guillemot. Um, so Yves Guillemot. Uh, that's a quote from him saying it is a more expansive experience than your typical AAA title. Now that's insane. First off, it's absolute madness. It is also insane that this game has fewer features than Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is Assassin's Creed 4, which came out well over a decade ago. It is also crazy that they are charging $70 for this game. But more than that, this game cost $200 million to create. $200 million in development. Now, keep in mind, that's not publishing, that's not advertising, right? That's just the development. Now, I'm not great at math, all right? But they're charging $70 a pop. And let's be super generous and assume that it's like 50% margin. Okay? So 50% margin. If they are making $35 on every copy sold, which is probably really, really high, by the way, they're going to have to sell 5.7 million copies of this game to break even on just the development. That's not the publishing, that's not the marketing. Do you think they're going to sell 5.7 million copies of Skull and Bones?
Well, hang on. You're saying that they have to sell 5.7 million copies.
Yeah.
But have you considered that after you pay that $70, you also have the esteemed opportunity of purchasing the Smuggler's Pass?
Oh, what's in the Smuggler's Pass?
The Smuggler's Pass allows you to unlock premium rewards.
Oh, you don't say.
So, I mean, I just I think that that is why Ubisoft tried to throw this quadruple A phrasing out there to say, like, to justify saying, hey, not only did we spend a ton on development, but because we spent a ton on development, it is worth not only the $70 price point, but also the continued investment of whatever the smuggler's pass is, however long those keep up for. And
Absolute insanity.
yeah, and like there are you could say the same thing for Call of Duty because they do the same thing, but they also have a completely free to play avenue where you can just play like Warzone and then buy the battle pass that way if you still want to get some rewards and things of that nature. Like the game itself, the game that you pay $70 for comes with all of that stuff. Like not all everything in the battle pass, but like a bunch of stuff to unlock. And then if you go the free route, you have a way to kind of to interact in a monetized manner to unlock more things for your account. So I don't think that it's I don't love that Call of Duty is monetized in that way, but I don't think it deserves the same critique as gatekeeping all of these battle pass or smuggler pass rewards behind a $70 price point anyway, just just for the quote unquote privilege to play the game.
Madness. Okay, so when you mentioned the smugglers, what is it? Smugglers track?
Smuggler pass.
Smuggler Pass, sorry.
Yeah.
I went to look online to see how much it was, and so I Googled Skull and Bones microtransactions, and I could not find anything about the actual microtransactions in Skull and Bones. But what I did find was a Reddit thread from somebody who said, "Can we please stop complaining about microtransactions?" And it is literally some, like, Ubisoft simp just, like, talking about how it's okay that they have microtransactions. It's a live service game. They have to pay for, like, the servers, and every other game has it, and there'd be no way for them to break even, and, like, all of this insane shit. And I don't wanna go too far down the live service rabbit hole here, but if you are at a point where you are online and you find yourself defending a corporation for them and you're not being paid for it, just stop. Think about your life and how, like, the most precious resource you have is time. And you could be playing a different game. You could be playing the game you're defending. You could be doing a million other things in that moment. But don't do that. That's the one. Like, don't go online and just defend a corporation for free. They pay people to do that. There's a whole PR squad. And maybe this was like astroturfing and it was the PR squad. And if so, I'm sorry I called you out. We know you're listening. Thanks for your patronage to Super Okay. But maybe just don't go online and defend like corporations. I know that's an insane thing to say, but that's where it's at. That's just my thought process. Do you know how much the Smuggler's Pass is?
I don't. I've been trying to find it myself. What I can say is that the base game is $70. The premium edition game is $100 US.
Okay.
Uh,
Sounds like best
and
deal.
and the premium edition comes with the base game, the Ballad of Bloody Bones collection, which I don't know what that means. 2 extra missions, which I am I don't like that. Digital artwork and soundtrack, which would at most be like a $5 download anyway, and a Smuggler Pass token. So I'm assuming that it's probably like $20 if I had to guess. That's where I feel like most battle passes, smuggler passes, live service content passes land. But I can say for an extra $30, you get a number of different things, including apparently 2 extra missions in the main game, which again,
Not
kind of
great.
hate that. Hate that
Definitely not great.
maybe more than a battle pass tacked on after you've already paid $70.
Yeah, not great. Always not a big fan of content being locked behind like a season pass, especially if it's the first season and especially if you just charge $70 for the game.
Yeah.
But it's cool cuz it's a quadruple A game.
It's a quadruple A game. What do you want?
What I want is for them to honestly, what I want is for quadruple A games to never be made again and for triple A games to maybe back off a little bit. We're to the point where companies, we were talking about this before we recorded. If you look at Square Enix released one Final Fantasy a year for like 4 years in a row, and they were all really good. And then they came out with Final Fantasy 13, and the hype for it was so insane that they took way longer, 5 years. They like switched engines and switched systems for it and all this shit, and then it came out and it was not great, right? Got pretty bad reviews.
Yeah.
And so of course they did exactly what any company would do in that scenario. They learned from their mistake and they like went back and they were like, "Hey, we're not going to do these like huge long development cycles. And instead, we are just going to um, do like shorter development cycles, smaller budgets, and all of that." Um, and so, of course, they were like, "Yeah, we'll do that for Final Fantasy 15." Except they didn't at all. They went the exact opposite way. And they were like, "Hey, instead of 5 years, we're gonna go to 10 years," which was about the development time for Final Fantasy 15. Um, in fact, it was such a long development time that it was originally announced as a spin-off to Final Fantasy 13. It was originally called Final Fantasy Versus 13, and they made it a spin-off and turned it into Final Fantasy 15. And Final Fantasy 15 was in development for a long time. Then Final Fantasy 16 was in development for a long time. And these games, they take so long to make, and the budgets are so freaking big on them that if you look at Final Fantasy 16, which critically received well, the public generally enjoyed,
Yeah.
they sold 3 million copies of Final Fantasy 16. Now, to put it in perspective, when Larian Studios sold 800,000 copies of Baldur's Gate 3, they threw a fucking party. They were like, this is crazy. We had no idea this was going to happen. When Pal World sold 1 million copies, they were like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this is going on.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16 sold 3 million copies, and in their report to their shareholders, Square Enix said that their sales for the game are not meeting expectations.
That is wild to me.
That is not a problem with the game or the sales. That
Yeah.
is mismanagement. That is not understanding how like the games industry works. Like how many people out there even own a PS5? Let me check this real quick.
Are we going to factor in the number of scalpers that are sitting on like 70 of them?
No.
Oh, okay. No.
Um, we're just going to count those as all being sold. So 46.6 million PS5 sold worldwide as of October of 2023. In 2022, they forecasted that they would sell 18 million. So realistically, Sony has sold 3 times the number of consoles they thought they were going to sell in this time frame. They sold 3 million copies of this game. That means that out of the 46.6 million, approximately 6% of all PlayStation 5 owners bought this game. And that's not enough for them.
I mean, I would think that's pretty good.
It is pretty good. And also, Sony said they were only going to sell 18 million of them. And for them to sell 3 million to 18 million potential owners, that would have meant that they wanted 16% of all PlayStation owners to buy this game. And it's not meeting expectations.
Yeah. That is wild. That I mean, I think that you nailed it. That's just a failure at like every business level. That is like mismanagement. Uh, I have to assume there's some sort of corporate waste in there.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure there is. I'm absolutely 100% sure there is. I don't know what it is. I wasn't there. I'm not a developer, but I'm sure there is. So basically, what I'm trying to say is don't do this, game companies. I think Kevin, you and I are aligned in the fact that gaming it's getting to the point where it's too big, and AAA games are either going to fail or like it's like Ouroboros eating its own tail. You know,
Yeah.
like we're almost to the point where game companies can't take a risk on new games because they're spending so much on the development of them. And then even if a game does moderately well, it's not enough. They just need to extract every little bit of potential profit out of it to the point where 3 million copies is a disappointment.
Yeah,
That that's wild.
it very much feels like gaming is an industry, at least at this point. where the largest corporations have not figured out how to scale their business properly to meet the demands of gamers and also the expectations of the market and gamers.
Yeah.
You have, like you mentioned, you have Pal World developers, you have Baldur's Gate 3 developers, you have Helldivers 2 developers
Oh yeah.
that are that are all thrilled with the success that they've realized, and they are selling a fraction of what uh, Square Enix did with Final Fantasy 16. Uh, so I mean, credit where it is due. Never once heard Square Enix called Final Fantasy 16 a quadruple A game.
You know what? Good point. Good point. Um, I here's the thing. This is so obviously like a major thing that I'm sure that no other company is going to make this exact same mistake. Like, take for example Rockstar. I'm sure that they are being totally moderate with the amount of money that they are spending on Grand Theft Auto 6. It says here $2 billion. $2
Uh,
billion is being put into the development of Grand Theft Auto 6.
is is that moderate? That doesn't
No,
sound moderate. That sounds like the GDP of some countries.
yeah, yeah.
That's just like a Cartoon Network number. That is not the like when you start saying billion, that's
It
just made up.
it
That's just
sounds
a
like
made up
something
number.
Doctor Evil would have requested. Absolutely insane. If you're old enough to get that reference, shout it out in the Discord. But goddamn, $2 billion. Like, I get it. I get it. GTA has made a lot of money. Um,
Well, yeah, they sold all those shark cards.
yeah, I mean, I get it. Um, and to be fair, according to a quick fact check on Wikipedia, apparently GTA has made $8.5 billion in revenue. And so, like, maybe they're gonna make it back, but holy shit. I here's what I hope. I hope that they pull in Sweet Baby Inc. to help with some representation, and all those fucking troglodytes from the first section don't buy it, and they both get taught a lesson. That's really what I want out of life.
Listen, I did you okay, the spoiler alert for a thing that happened historically like 4 months ago. Did you watch the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer?
I did, yes.
Did you watch any of the reactions
No,
from people who would be found in anti Sweet Baby Inc. forums?
no. Why would I do that? Why would I give those people a platform? Why would I vote with my time in such a way?
Oh, because I watch it and just laugh at how maniacal these folks are. But
Well, yeah,
I
but you're part of the Call of Duty community as established on last week's episode, so
yeah,
you kind of have to.
yeah, it comes with the territory. But yeah, those your prediction may not be that far off. That's all
Really?
I'm saying.
Oh
I don't
man,
think Sweet Baby Inc. was involved, but I do think that there are a lot of troglodytes that got plans for not playing GTA 6.
nice. All right, so we're gonna move on here because those first 2 points, those are news stories, things that we wanted to talk about, things that honestly I wanted to rant a little bit about. So I'll get down off my soapbox so that you can take my place. Tell me about skill based matchmaking. Explain it to me.
Okay. Now, I want you to keep in mind something. When you said earlier, if you find yourself defending a corporation, just don't.
Yeah.
Part of my acknowledgement on this is going to be defending a corporation.
Have
But
you
it is not,
considered not defending a
but
corporation and instead defending like a development choice?
I mean, that is what it is.
Okay,
Mostly it
great.
is every time I am online talking about skill based matchmaking, it is Activision sucks for so many reasons. Please shut up about this. That is that is where I am at.
Fair
And
enough.
generally, so skill-based matchmaking, the long and short of it, I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, which is very difficult for me where words are my job. But skill-based matchmaking is a matchmaking system in most multiplayer games where there is a either explicit or or implicit matchmaking rating or skill level attributed to each player, and the games that are crafted are done so with that skill level in mind, such that you have more more even lobbies. You have the skill level in the skill ceiling in the lobby is lower, and the skill floor in the lobby is higher. And corporations do this for a number of reasons. Activision put out a a blog about their matchmaking back in the end of January, talking about it, explaining that they do it for player retention,
Hmm.
that they do it for to provide more variety in the outcomes of games. So the idea being, if you are losing if you are losing every game you're in, you are going to have a bad time and you're not going to want to play. If
Yep.
you're winning every game you're in, you are going to get bored and you are not going to want to play.
Maybe, but okay.
Uh, now, there are a lot of people that have an issue with this. And those folks say, hey, Call of Duty has a ranked play. That is where skill based matchmaking should be. It has no place in unranked play. And to that I say, the algorithm for their like skill based matchmaking has reached a level to where it is putting you into lobbies that are like so fine tuned that it is not nearly the same way that a ranked play lobby would be. Where a ranked play lobby is just going to gather people around the same rank. It knows not to reach too far out, and so it's going to always gather people around the same rank. If you derank far enough, you're not getting easier lobbies. You are getting lobbies that you have played yourself into,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Whereas the idea of skill based matchmaking is if you intentionally fail the objective or tank your kill death ratio, you are going to be placed into easier lobbies. Like that is the general idea of like reverse boosting, right? And so the critique is that this has no place in casual play. That you should just let players play, let them match up, do it strictly based on connection and matchmaking time, and leave everything aside. But the people who make that argument are also the people that believe they are in the top levels of the player base. And so there's no mind for, okay, well, what about the person who like has a 9 to 5, gets home, wants to play a little bit of Call of Duty, and is thrown into a lobby with the guys that play this for 12 hours a day
Right.
because that is their job.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've heard variations of this argument for years in video games. And almost always it comes from people who are at the absolute highest echelon of the game and the absolute most vocal minority, right?
Yes and no, because you said people who are at the highest echelon. And I importantly want to note that it is almost always from the people that believe they are at the highest echelon.
A fair distinction, yes, a fair distinction. Self identified as in the highest echelon, I suppose I should say.
Yeah. And the reason I wanted to make that distinction is there are so many people that that will say things like, "Oh, skill-based matchmaking is really cranked up today," to indicate that they are being thrown into lobbies full of the sweatiest players. And the thing that like no one seems to be thinking about when they make that statement is that in fact, skill-based matchmaking must be looser, and you are actually now just one of the bad players in that lobby. Like you You are being matched up against people that are better than you, and you're sad about it. And that's
Yeah,
okay. Like, I don't like to be matched up against people that are better than me all the time either. That's why I like skill-based matchmaking, because there are times where I am going to go 1 and 50, and there are other times where I'm going to go 50 and 1. It's actually usually like, you know, 20 and 30 versus 30 and 20.
sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's when you said earlier that if you win every game, you're gonna get bored and stop playing, and if you lose every game, you're gonna get frustrated and stop playing. Like, kind of. There are games where it's like that I've played in competitive shooters where it's like, hey, I got stomped, but I'm gonna play another one because I know I could do better. And then there are games where it's like, I got stomped and I never want to play this game again, you know?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, there are games where it's like, I stomped this team, but I had a good time doing it. And then
Mhm.
every once in a while, there's a game where it's like, I stomped this team and I felt like shit doing it. Like, I was like, they didn't know where to shoot. You know, they didn't know what end of the gun the bullets came out of, like that sort of shit. And it's like
Yeah.
this was a this was not even I know they weren't having a good time, and also I wasn't having a good time because it was not competitive in the least. The best games, in my opinion, are the games where it's close and there's some tension, and then I win, right?
Yeah.
And then the second best games are the games where it's close and there's some tension and then I lose. And I don't understand how everyone doesn't feel that way.
I I think that part of it is, and so there are a number of players that have been playing Call of Duty since 2007, when Call of Duty 4
Yep.
Modern Warfare came out.
Yeah.
And those those people, when if they were new to the game at that time, were probably on the losing end of a lot of matches. Even though there was skill-based matchmaking, the algorithm was not juiced to the level that it is today. The math and the
Yeah.
science weren't there for the development. And so now, with all of the different data profiles that companies can create through just gathering information from player data, they can narrow this down to a point where they can almost practically guarantee a result. They can't say, exactly what your kill death will be, but they know, hey, if we put this player, this player, this player, this player, this player together, they're more likely to win a game. And
Yeah.
if we
I
put
mean,
these players together, they're more likely to lose.
yeah, every once in a while you'll just play cracked out of your mind. You'll be like fully honked. But like
Yeah,
for the most part, they're gonna have you dialed in.
yeah. But those people that were new to the game in 2007, when skill based matchmaking was in its infancy, and when they were losing almost every game, and they were going 3 kills and 20 deaths, like at their worst,
Mm-hmm.
and 7 kills and 10 deaths at their best in a day, those people now feel like they've put in the time and that they have earned the ability to stomp on other players the way that they were stomped on when they started playing the game.
I see.
That is the vibe that I get. And I could be wrong because it is a lot of like drawing inferences,
Yeah.
but that is the kind of emotion that is is intrinsic in a lot of the statements that I have read and a lot of the videos that I have watched about skill-based matchmaking. And
Yeah.
and I it feels bad to say that those people don't deserve to be able to like stomp on a team if they want to, but at the same time, you're not playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare from 2007, dude. You're not. Like, this is the game that you are playing now. And if you want to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2007, I think still some servers that are available, like in a host variety rather than a data center through Activision. And I do have to specifically call out 2007 because they re-released Modern Warfare in 2019, and
Yeah.
that's the
It's
one that a lot of the engines are like still derived from. So
right. I will tell you from experience. I'm playing a game called Fairy Tale Fables, and earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, I got into a match and I was playing against Horse Thief. Horse Thief is like one of the mods on the Discord. He streams this game on Twitch all the time. He is very, very good at this game.
Okay.
And also in this particular lobby, he got incredibly lucky. There are some spells in the game that like give you extra resources early. And so at the point when I had 5 characters on my board, he had 7 characters on his board, right? Which means not only is he good, but he also got lucky in that he pulled the necessary cards to like generate resources early.
Okay.
I lost that game bad. And did that suck? Yes. Did it feel bad? Yes. But also that's how it feels 1 out of every maybe 10 games of this game that I play, right? And it does not have skill-based matchmaking. This was a ranked game. I'm somewhere in the like 400s. He's somewhere in the like high double digits.
Okay.
That doesn't happen that often. I
Yeah.
do not understand why people would be like, "Hey man, I'm really looking forward to getting my ass whooped by one of the like upper echelon players." Or, "Hey man, I'm really looking forward to just like stomping out the people who are brand new to the game or like bad at the game." Like I don't get it. Why don't you want to play a competitive game?
I don't know, and I'm sure that Horse Thief. I don't know if he was streaming at that time, but I'm sure that he was probably like talking through the what he was doing, and almost didn't have fun with that game either. Because if it's something where you're so easily able to beat somebody, it's like the only way that I can think someone would appreciate that is if they were all like if they were super super competitive in every game leading up to that,
Well,
and they were like,
is a
"Oh
li-
man, this is a break."
this game is a little different because it's also a like big number funny game, you know?
Okay.
Like the number goes up and it's like, "Oh shit, look at how big I got my board to be," right?
Okay.
And so like I can understand appreciating that, but I also could see like if he got that kind of luck every game, it would probably be boring for him. But again, that was probably his like 1 in 10 games where he was like, "Oh man, I really stomped those guys, but it was awesome." You know? Like
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But yeah, I 100% get what you're saying there.
Yeah, it's just something where I think that skill-based matchmaking is better in general for the community for player retention as Activision called out. And I know that they're like the other side of this is a lot of people saying, "Oh, Activision doesn't want you to actually see that they're trying to get you to play as much as possible." Well, guys, what do you think player retention is? Of course they want you to play as much as possible.
Right.
They're a company, and we already know that all of the like social media companies do the exact same thing to try to get you to scroll as long as possible. Of course they are psychologically manipulating every one of us as players to do their bidding. This is the area where I'm like, no, actually Activision is a really bad company for so many other reasons. Stop focusing on this stupid thing
Right.
that doesn't matter and look at the reasons why we should be mad at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it looks like I'm defending Activision and I'm like, there's no winning for me here.
Right,
So
exactly. Yeah. You're defending a development choice, not the company. I'm 100% with you.
I have not I've never specified it like that, and I will start to because it makes me feel better about it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Speaking of companies, our last question is actually sponsored by Sweet Baby Inc., which is a baller ass name. It's not actually, but like Sweet Baby Inc. Get at your boy. I ain't afraid. I'll just take some Steam codes, bro. I like what you're doing. Hell, I don't know. Maybe we just start saying they're sponsoring us until they do. Um,
yeah.
I'll pick up what you're laying down, Sweet Baby Inc. Anyway, baller ass name. Um, and so what Sweet Baby Inc. has asked of us today is if you had to make a company name that was as great as that, what would you pick?
All right. So it's not as good as Sweet Baby Inc.
Well,
It's
few things are.
frankly, it's not even as good as Sweet Baby Hank, which like Firstborn.
Yeah.
Here we go. But it is Snack Inc. Snack spelled SNACC, and it's actually a acronym for Snapping Necks and Cashing Checks Incorporated.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, we're just involved in the development of fighting games and heist games.
Nice. Okay. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I don't even think mine's as good as yours, but I do think it's funny. And that is Three Ball Entertainment.
Is there it is there any backstory, or is it just three ball?
Three Ball Entertainment, baby. And it's just fucking three balls all clustered together like the pool ball.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just the idea of fucking like three testicles. It's funny to me. Leave me alone, huh?
I mean, I mean three, 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 te- three testicles is obviously funny because I can't even get the words out of my mouth without laughing. So you, you got me there. You got me.
I almost died. Oh my god. Oh shit. All right, that's enough episode for today. You got anything to say about any of this other shit?
I don't think I have anything left to add into anything except, again, credit where it's due. I don't think any other developer that we've mentioned today has called their game quadruple A.
Yeah, that's true. Fuck Ubisoft. Also, fuck Utan. Um, he's a quadruple A good guy, but like seriously, fuck him. All right, tell the people where you can be found.
You can find me almost anywhere as Kevin Tense, YouTube, Twitch, Discord. I heard Tubbs call out TikTok. I'm on there too. I got a few
Oof.
things on there. Blue Sky, Twitter. Yeah, like everywhere. Like if it's a platform, go ahead and type Kevin Tense in there. Not Kick. I'm not on Kick. I don't really want to be on Kick.
I don't even know what Kick is.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Wait till I tell you about Rumble.
I don't want to know about Rumble. All right. Rumble. Rumble is just boots in a dryer. I am a 20-sided ninja on Blue Sky. I'm in the Discord. If you ain't in the Discord, you should probably be in the Discord. It's a really good time, I promise. Yeah, and outside of that, huge thank you to all of our Patreons. Literally could not do this without you. You guys are all the best. Thanks for helping to keep the episode free. And if you like this episode, maybe I don't know, send it to your grandpa. He might like it. At least for the testicle joke at the end. I don't know.
Someone is going to like this just for the testicle joke, if nothing else.
There's one person out there who like, oh yeah, they didn't have me in the first 56 minutes or whatever, but that ball joke at the end really got me. Also, that guy should have bought Heelys. Anyway, I think that's enough for this episode. Say goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for having
y'all. Me. Yeah, of course. Thank you. If you're still listening, thanks for listening. Bye.